Yes, yes, yes. It is the Castworthy podcast. We are back at you. I am Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, on the Twitter machine. Joined today by the VP of Research and EJ the Savage. It is March 21st, Sunday. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Tired, man. I'm tired, but I'm here. I'm here for it.
Yeah, you got your little shot and you think you fucking Mr. Untouchable all of a sudden
Yeah, man. That's
out in these streets.
I'm fully vaccinated. They say it takes about 2 weeks for the protections of the vaccine to fully kick in once you've been fully vaccinated. But I went out there and tested it. Talking to people, no mask. You know, telling people they come closer to me. Say it like a secret. You know?
Yeah, I know you were not doing that.
Nah, hell no. But I mean, it does feel different though, man. Like,
yeah,
like
because you can just know that you're not gonna die if you get it. You're gonna get, you
Yeah.
could still get it. You're just not gonna die.
Yeah.
Gotta be some sense of fucking stability there.
Yeah. So I mean, we went out. We was at my sister's house, and when we first got there, I kept my mask on for a while, and then when I got something to drink, I had to take it off to drink, obviously, and then I just left it off at that point. But like it felt weird at first, like being around people and not having a mask on. But I got comfortable pretty quickly. But I also knew in the back of my head, I've been vaccinated, so it should be all good. I've been vaccinated. My wife's been vaccinated. Um, my sister, she's getting vaccinated tomorrow. So we're getting there, into the almost at the finish line.
Yeah, after I get vaccinated, I'm still wearing a mask. I don't trust these nasty face bastards out here. Motherfuckers don't give a shit. Man, so tearing up your sister's house. EJ was tearing up these streets last night. Actually all weekend this nigga ain't been around. I'm surprised he had a chance to watch Snyder's cut.
I watched it Thursday.
Oh yeah, so
I've watched it several times.
God damn.
And you never mind. So what's going on? What's your weekend look like?
Man, just chilling, man. It's been out chilling and lounging, having some fun here and there. Same thing as usual, nothing new.
But they started to open shit back up in Baltimore. Like more capacity, I mean.
No, not in the city. No.
Because like Connecticut went to 100% capacity on restaurants. I want to say it was Friday, which is really fucking weird because their numbers are going up.
Nah, Baltimore City has every spot I think is because Maryland was supposedly allowed to be open, but Baltimore County spots and Baltimore City spots still maintaining some level of capacity settings and stuff like that. So it's been cool with that.
Yeah.
So it's just over here, man. We just don't. It's like we always hear about how don't bet against America, and we're gonna come up with an American solution and all that kind of thing like that. And the solution to COVID has just been fucking stupid. You look in United Kingdom, Britain's been on lockdown for like 3 months. And you don't hear people saying, I gotta open back up my restaurant, what the fuck? Because the government is taking care of people so they can stay their ass home so they can get the virus under control there,
I'm about to move there. I'm already a hermit. And shit, this just made it even worse. I want to stay inside for a few more months. I was hoping they would lock shit down so they got the herd immunity fixed up.
Mm-hmm.
Shut it down for fucking 90 days after May 1st. Everyone who wants to be vaccinated, get vaccinated in that 3-month period and then pop shit up. You know what I'm saying? But,
Yep.
our government ain't fucking smart. They like you know, can't even make it up a set of fucking stairs at a fucking on a plane.
Joey B.
Fucking Joe, man, took the ultimate fall. It's not like it was just one trip, man. He took 3 crazy trips, man. I know his shin was hurting, dog. And he old, old people's skin tears easily. He definitely tore the skin, yo. There's no question. No question.
When I saw that shit, I was like, well, first of all, I was thinking like watching Joe through the 08 campaign and his vice presidency under Obama, like that's classic Joe. Like, he's always running around. He does those kind of things. But it seems like now, I guess it seems like some people think he does that because Trump and the Republicans, he's old, he's frail, da da da. So, like, I think that's why some people think he does like the running stuff or whatever, and that could be, but that's how he's always been, right? But when I saw that shit happen, he falls the first time, then the second and third time. The only thing that came to my mind was the Kevin Hart joint when he's like, "Help me, nigga!" Like, I got a team of 200 motherfuckers around me. Like, I'm tripping down the stairs, like nobody's here. Like, what the fuck is going on, yo?
It's probably better that they didn't. Because, like, if somebody would have walked up behind them and, like, had to help him up, they would have made a bigger fucking ordeal out of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Him kind of recatching his footing after the third time, getting to the top, turning, saluting, and keeping it moving. It's a good opportunity for jokes and memes and shit, but at least you can see this nigga shit. How many 78-year-old men out there, could just fucking get up from that anyway? You know what I'm saying? Let alone the fucking president of the United States. So,
shit. I ever make it to the president, I fall. Like, they better like go to DEFCON 4. Like, send everybody.
That shit was funny.
Yeah. I would have fucking What else is going on, man? So, you guys didn't see the verses last night, I'm sure. Probably bits and pieces for you, EJ, because I know you had your phone with you and shit. But last night was a historical versus for me, and to a lot of people as I'm looking at timelines and shit like that. Of course, though, we are from the Northeast, so New York rap is that, right? The Wu-Tang Clan had 2 members. Vari, the Wu-Tang Clan is a hip-hop group from the 90s that started in Staten Island. Multiple members. Some would call it the best group of all time. For you and any listeners that may not be familiar.
Thanks.
Ghostface Killer and Raekwon did their verses last night, and it was what the kids might say lit. Tony Stark, not the Tony Stark Vari, not the Marvel character. Ghostface Killer also goes by Tony Stark. Pretty Tone, he did his thing. He popped up, Wallabies, his norm. He had started out with the red Wallies with the red hat, blacked out and shit. And then, they went to halftime and he came back with the half cut Wallies, blue and cream joints with the blue jacket and the Yankee jacket. And then the fur over it like you would expect. Nothing less from Ghostface. And Gritty Raekwon was just there, and some New Balances and, black jeans, actually black, maybe leather pants with like 37 pockets on them. And it was just historical, man. The music was just, for anybody that grew up in the Wu era, anybody who's a Wu fan, who likes, Wu-Tang, who likes Ray or Ghost or both. It was historical, man, and people were going crazy in the comments. This was the first one under Triller, and now we have like a whole map of what it's gonna look like for verses. But I know you guys did not get a chance to partake. But have you seen anything? Have you heard anything about it?
I've seen people saying it was epic for hip hop and everything, and I didn't expect anything less. So I'm a catch it because it's out there on IG, all 2 hours and change of it. But yeah, they got the lineups, tentative lineups that they posted the flyer for, and they got some holdouts to what they going, what they still got lined up. They got some holdouts. So, I'm glad to see verses to still keep going, even after, things have changed a little bit because it was most effective, like we talked about, at the height of the pandemic. But it's still good to see. And kind of to the theory that you had, how concerts might be, or how this changes the game going forward.
Yeah, it's looking like big business, man. This is a big business rollout. When it was just under Swiss and Tim, you saw as they signed acts, they'd be like, "Oh, hey, this one is coming." But under big business, under Triller, companies like that, we got the placemat with fucking two that are showing, and we got the dates, but some names that are blurred out to keep our appetite wet. So, yeah, it looks big business, man. Looks big business. I'm excited for some of them. The Redman versus Method Man is going to be something different. Obviously, they got a bunch of shit together, but they also have a bunch of shit separate, kind of like Ray and Ghost last night. So it's going to be good to see that. And then what was it? Eisley Brothers and Earth, Wind, and Fire. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
That one is on April 4th, Mother's Day.
Yep.
So I'm interested to see that.
Yeah, I don't know how much. The Isley Brothers. I don't know, man. I think people really don't know how many hits those guys really have. They've been doing it since the '40s, since '40s and the '50s almost. So
Right.
I don't know. People know the different versions and things that they have. Like Earth, Wind, and Fire has a phenomenal catalog, and they'll probably have the more entertaining catalog for a lot of people. But yeah, I don't know. The Isleys got a lot of joints.
They sure do.
Yeah.
When you talk about trying to limit these guys to 20, 20 hits, like that's hard. That's hard for the Isley Brothers. I think they might have 20 automatic win joints, like against no matter who they went up against, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they got joints that are just commercialized. I mean, like something like a twist and shout and shit like that people don't even know that they're involved in. But it should be interesting. It'll be good for the culture. I think two of them, including Ron, is alive. I think one of the brothers passed by now, but two of them I think is alive. So, and then Earth, Wind, and Fire. It'll be something, man. It'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah. There's a rematch listed on there. Who you guys think the rematch might be?
It's gonna be DMX and somebody, or DMX is because it was DMX and Snoop, right? So
yeah, but I would think a rematch is the same two people, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't know that DMX and Snoop would do it again, but
nah.
Probably what Teddy Riley, Babyface, maybe since Teddy's audio was all fucked up.
Ooh, that could be. But Teddy's still gonna get that ass mop. Like Babyface, and it sucks for that because they both have a lot of tracks, I think, and they still have a lot left. But we got the best, not the best, but I think we got the most of their tracks. I think Premier RZA might be the rematch because they're producers. So they got, and I mean, Primo has endless fucking tracks. RZA has endless tracks. So I think it has to be producers when you do that rematch because they just have, I think they have more options that they haven't played in that first 20. When you talk about an artist, 20 tracks, 20 dope tracks that's going to actually get people involved is going to be different for me.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Swiss versus Timberland was the first one.
Maybe that might be the rematch.
Yeah, might be. they had some Hit Boy versus who was that? I have no idea who the Boy Wonder. I'm bugging. I don't know how he spelled his name. Never seen that.
Two producers.
French Montana and Tory Lanez had a versus.
Yeah, I don't know if that was I don't know if either one of those two were actually sponsored by Versus though. The French Montana Tory and the Hit Boy Boy Wonder. I think those were just like some throw together joints that actually I think the Hit Boy Boy Wonder one was actually Joe Budden who put that one together. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. 112 Jagged Edge. No, we seen pretty much all of what they had.
Yeah.
I don't know who would be a rematch.
Their audio was fucked up too, so that could be
trash.
That shit was horrible. That shit was terrible.
Brandy versus
K Michelle and who's Ashanti?
Ashanti and
he said K Michelle.
Yeah, no, it wasn't K Michelle, but I know
Keisha Cole.
Keisha.
There you go.
Yeah, Keisha
that could be the rematch. That could be the rematch too.
I don't know. Brandy versus Monica was done at Tyler Perry Studios. How about that?
I didn't know that.
How about that?
I didn't either.
You could do the Beanie Man one. Beanie Man Bantikila.
That was for me, man. That was the one that kind of like took it to another level. Because that was the first one they did like in the same room. And that whole vibe was different, man.
Yeah, they set the tone with that one. They set the tone, and you had two electric motherfuckers that were super energetic. So yeah, that one was fire.
I'll be honest though, I'm looking at the list. There isn't anyone that I really want to see again.
Right, in a rematch, right? No. Maybe you take like a they should have done like a March Madness style joint and done a fucking bracket. Like that would have been pretty interesting to see. Like you do Snoop and fucking X and whoever to something like that, and then the next round it would be like Snoop versus Raekwon or whoever won. You know what I'm saying? Like March Madness, but
the thing is like while they might have a lot of songs for the versus style, if you already kind of heard the hits, it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
You
probably have to do that with less tracks. Like you couldn't do it with 20. You probably have to do like 5 to 10 or something like, and maybe even do 2 rounds a night or some shit. You know what I'm saying? So that you got, I don't know. But either way, it definitely looks like it's being commercialized. You can see that in the rollout now, how it looks more organized. Audio was great last night. When you guys get a chance to see it, the audio was great. Capadonna showed up, which was dope. RZA showed up, which was dope. Kappa actually spit on it. He performed a little bit. RZA just came in and toasted up. But yeah, man, it was good, man. And I think for anybody, even young kids, to kind of hear that stuff and maybe go back and see what the Wu catalog looks like, because I think they respect Wu-Tang because it's such a big name, but I don't think they know like the history of and all that, all they have to offer.
Yeah, Wu-Tang has the biggest hip hop brand in all the world. Nothing is bigger hip hop wise than Wu-Tang. I mean, it's literally a cultural classic for all ethnicities all around the world. But I'm waiting for them to come out with their second season of the saga, because just watching how they got formed and all of that was a dope series, and I'm shocked they haven't had a second season yet.
Yeah, I got to get back to that. That was I didn't finish the first one, but they did actually. Someone mentioned that in the comments last night. I think it was RZA. It was either RZA or Method Man. One of them said that that the second season was coming. So yeah, that's gonna be good. But yeah, definitely it was good music. Very nostalgic for anybody that might have come up in that time. And some good stories from those guys. So shout out to Rain Ghost. That was definitely a good verses. Shout out to Swiss and Tim for putting that together and hopefully getting us some more, man. As long as they don't go too commercial and we don't start losing, the greatness of what Versus was. Obviously, it'll probably pan down a little bit because people are going to be outside. I mean, once they start getting these vaccines, like VP was last night, all irresponsible and shit, tearing up the streets like a little thought. But yeah. What else is happening, man? Deshaun Watson, we want to get into that, or we got something else that we want to kind of segue into from Versus?
I mean, we got that. We got EJ's Justice League. Wherever you want to take it.
Yeah, I think we definitely got to get to that. That'll be probably part of our, or load us up into our bingeables. But yeah, Deshaun Watson. Let's talk about that real quick. I don't even think we need to spend too much time on it. For those who don't know, Deshaun Watson is a quarterback for the Houston Texans. Not sure for how much longer. He has 12. Somebody was saying that it's going towards a number of 19. They expected to hit the number of 19 before the weekend is out because they're saying that the lawyer has additional individuals that just have not come forward yet. Allegations of sexual misconduct. This all falls on not the eve, but this is post him not wanting to sign his contract. I'm sorry, for him not wanting to play with Houston any longer, and demanding a trade. The same Houston Texans team that the owner made reference of the players as prisoners. Is that right? Saying something like you can't inmates can't let the inmates run the jail. When we were talking about the kneeling, black people kneeling for justice. So, and this is also the same Houston team that a lot of guys, J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins, they've left, right? And Will Fuller left for a 1-year deal with the Miami Dolphins when he could have gotten a large contract from them, and they had something big on the table for him. So a lot of people are suspecting that this is that there's some foul play here. It just so happens that the lawyer is the next door neighbor of the owner, which makes it even more funky. Started out with one person, but now he's got 12 people that are saying, clearly, Deshaun Watson is a fan of massages, so they get different masseuses to come in. And he's asked a few of them to play with the starfish, the chocolate starfish, and force some of their hands. So, what do you think? And not only that, they leaked a text message from him, allegedly, that says, I'm sorry you felt uncomfortable, but would you like to come back tomorrow? That wasn't the intent. How you guys feel about it, man? 12?
Man, like VP always says, people deserve to be heard, and not everyone has to be believed, right? It's just kind of crazy, the timing of this stuff. I don't know how to wrap my head around it. 12 people have gone through something for so long, and now at the height of him requesting a trade, the lawyer who was neighbors with the owner is spearheading this. It just doesn't sound right. It just doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right.
Yeah, this one is kind of tough, man. Like, especially the circumstances that you laid out, Steve. The lawyer being the neighbor, and that thing is that's really wild for me. I didn't even know it had gone up to 12. My last understanding was we were still at the 9. Like I said when we talked offline about this, the thing that is suspect for me is that when it had got up to, I think, 3, one of the women said that the incident that occurred, the alleged assault that occurred, had happened in December of 2020, which was just 3 months ago. And the thing that seems suspect to me is that what you're alleging happened. The woman says that they were doing a massage, and he forced her to give him head, right? And the first move you make is to file a lawsuit, a civil lawsuit. Like no cops, no investigation, no, you know, that seems very suspect to me, man. And I'm the type of person I don't I get it that victims of any kind of sexual trauma or violence or whatever, they have to kind of come out in their own time. A lot of people say, well, why didn't you call the cops right away and all that kind of thing. And I get it that there are a great many of reasons why victims don't right away. I mean, we see people who were altar boys in the church when they were kids who don't make a claim until they're like in their 40s. And I get that, right? But to get to the point to where you're ready to say something happened and your immediate go-to is a lawsuit versus going to the cops to bring charges, that just seems really suspect to me, man. So I don't know what to believe in this one. This thing seems there seems to be some kind of fraud happening here, in my opinion.
Am I the only ethical person in the room? 12? Listen, man. A famous poet once said, "Men lie, women lie, but numbers don't." 12 is a big number, dog. Like when it was the first one, I was like, "Oh, here come the Texans." You know what I mean? Then it got to 2 and 3, and I still was like, look at the Texans drill, picking shit up. And then I started to think about like, Ezekiel Elliott, who he had the text messages from her saying she was gonna fucking try to blackmail him and she was gonna end his career and shit like that, right? So I'm like, all right, well, we've seen this before. We've been here. We got to 6. I'm starting to think, 6 of these bitches lying? Then we got to 9. I was like, they can't all be lying. Like 9? And now we're at 12, right? There's also been a few that have taken to Twitter that said, I have been, I'm a professional masseuse. I have given Deshaun multiple massages on multiple different occasions, and there has never been any foul play, never any arousal, never anything sexual, never any discomfort, right? She might be hefty. But JK, LOL.
Oh my God.
Nah, but seriously though, I mean, it's a serious subject. We talk about it pretty often because it happens a lot, in general. And with athletes, with billionaires, millionaires, we're always skeptical. Myself and EJ, and Var, you're usually the one that's like, it's probably still true. And I feel like I'm on that side of the coin here. I started out really skeptical, but when you get to 12, that is a lot. And I get your point about, the civil suit. Is it a money thing? The lawyer being next door to the owner also makes it questionable for me, but that is a lot of motherfuckers, dog. Like,
well, you can have as many people accuse that's also the fundamental problem. You can have people accuse anybody of something because there's no real penalty to have done this, especially if they're going through a lawyer who's doing it for them and telling them how they could be protected personally. And as they're being listed as victims, we don't have to know their names, we don't have to know their information, so anybody can accuse anybody of something. And I mean, you're talking about just 12 people could just be hopping on the bandwagon. I mean, and then how is the lawyer, how is this guy the owner's neighbor at one point? Like, how does this not raise red flags? Like, it's too much of a perfect storm. Like, it's just crazy.
And not just that, like the thing that really got me was not even the thing about the incident allegedly happening in December of last year versus now coming forward or whatever, right? The thing that initially like seemed suspect to me was that the lawyer contacts Deshaun Watson over like Instagram or some social media platform. Basically, I got this client who says X,
Pay this
and
bread.
you need to pay the bread or whatever. And that shit just has like ambulance chaser vibes to me, dog. Like that,
You
like
basically threaten them.
yeah, like like that's not how That's not how you operate in in the legal community or whatever. Like, yo, this thing happened. I'm gonna send you a DM. Like, yo, you need to send me 300 grand, or we're gonna fight. Come on, dog. Like that shit just seems suspect to me. I mean, the number thing that you said, Steve. With it being 12. I mean, I hear you. I feel you. But given how everything started, and then they're all from this same lawyer, which also kind of seems suspect to me, because a lot of times when we see these situations, all the women aren't being represented by the same lawyer. You might have, maybe a handful of them are, and then another one says, yeah, this happened to me too, and they have their own lawyer, and they're going their own route. All of the women from the same lawyer, and he keeps saying, I have more, I have more, I have more. Like, it just seems suspect to me, dog.
Would it be suspect if it was Tom Brady?
The difference is me.
Because Vari hates Tom Brady. But how do we separate this? How is this different from Tiger Woods?
Well, with Tiger Woods, there was no alleged assault. It was just adultery.
He was just smashing. He was literally smashing joints, knocking him down.
Like a winner.
And then with Tiger, the thing with Tiger that always got me was like, the women who came out and made it seem like they were some kind of victim. It's like, yo, this dude is Tiger. It's not like he's some lawyer you met at a convention in Denver, you didn't know he was married. It's fucking Tiger Woods. He has a Wikipedia page.
Like Cuomo.
Like, come on, exactly, bro. Like, come on, like, you know who this guy is. You know what I mean? Like, don't make it seem like, oh, I thought it was me and him. I had no clue he had a wife and kids. Like, come on, dog.
That's why TV. I don't understand why these dudes don't get NDAs. Trey Songz and all these other people that are doing this wild stuff or whatever it is. Get some legal paperwork, get some legal protection behind it. Like you're rich, but you don't feel the need to protect yourself legally. Like, you can't just be me out here.
Yeah. You're not. Yeah, exactly. Can't be. Yes, super EJ. I don't know, man. Wow. I hope for Deshaun Watson's sake that it comes out that it ain't shit. I made a bet with E the other day that Deshaun Watson would not play this year. I'm sorry, no. That he would be impacted by the league taking action, and he would play less games than he sat due to that. Meaning, he would play less than 8 games this season. Because I do think the NFL is going to step in, whether allegations or not, whether we know the truth or not right now. I think as a league, they have to step in. There's no way they can't hold this guy accountable until the facts come out, right? They have to say something with this type of allegation. If it was like a fight in the club, you know what I mean, where nobody really got hurt, if it was, some other shit, maybe not so much, but sexual misconduct, at a high level, at 12 different accusers, they have to, otherwise the NFL is going to get crucified.
Well, it's not founded yet. So, I mean, nothing has been confirmed. So you can't, the league essentially can't penalize you for something that is not true or untrue yet. The league has their own team of investigators, and they're going to look into it. And I mean, they pay top dollar to figure this type of shit out. So, Deshaun's been saying, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm completely innocent. This is completely ridiculous. And I think, I hope justice comes out one way or the other. And I think if the NFL is going to investigate, they're going to get to the bottom of it. And we'll know what's really going on pretty soon. But, as we all said, in some ways, this is very suspect. The timing is suspect. The connection is suspect. And the saddest part is, if it isn't true, the saddest part is that all 13 of these people, the 12 and the lawyer included, will probably go unpunished, other than, civil lawsuits that Deshaun would have to file on his own. But
right,
that's the sad part. And it's also the delicate part that, like I said, anybody can accuse anybody of something and not really have to show any evidence at a time and at a point in time. And even if it's unfounded and everything is untrue, the damage that you've done to Deshaun Watson is that's the part that doesn't go away.
Beyond Deshaun Watson, the damage that you've done to individuals who may have been have dealt with sexual misconduct or may deal with it in the future. Because think about our thought pattern, EJ. You know, when we talk to Vari and this type of stuff comes up, we think about, hey, women do this all the time for money, right? They look for opportunities and things like that. And Vari's like, listen, that shouldn't cloud your judgment, right? And in this one, it didn't, you know. But if it comes out that this is bullshit, how does that not make me, right? Personally, I'm not going to speak for you, but for me, that's going to make me think anytime this comes up, I'm going to circle back and be like, how do you believe this person? How can you put this person as scripture when we just saw 12 people try to ruin one man's life?
And that's a good point, you know, and you know, that's why I always, you know, as like EJ referenced earlier, I say, you know, women or anybody who is an alleged victim, you know, we don't have to necessarily believe them, but they should be taken seriously, you know, and then we investigate, and then you let the chips fall where they may, you know. But what happens is, especially when you talk about individuals that are wealthy, is people always assume that there's a financial motive involved, right? Mm-hmm. And if when all the dust settles from this Deshaun Watson case, if it turns out that it is fraudulent in the future, it's going to hurt future victims, because when they come forward and say, this celebrity, this star, this rich person did this to me, people will say, you know, come on, man, these people are just trying to get money. You know, it's all about money. It's all about fame, you know, whatever. And they won't be believed. And, you know, I always say, you know, when these kind of things happen where there is some kind of fraudulent aspect to it, you know, these things are more of the exception and not the rule. You know, if they did a study on it, which I'm sure there are probably numbers out there somewhere, it's probably less than 5% of fraudulent cases brought forward saying that somebody did something, right? But that small minority of instances like that, they get the lion's share of the coverage, and it makes people think like anytime these things come forward, the person is lying. And you know, it sucks. And if it is fraudulent, to EJ's point, like, where do you go to get your reputation back? You know, because that's always gonna be on your when if somebody looks you up on your Wikipedia, whatever, it's always gonna be there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there's always gonna be those people, regardless of what comes out, who says, nah, he did it. It's because he has money, he got swept under the rug, or X, Y, you know what I mean? So like, where do you go to get your reputation back if it's bullshit?
And then also, now go ahead, Steve.
I was gonna say, look what this bitch did to Kobe when he passed away. Oprah. Oprah. She wanted to bring up Kobe's fucking allegations in Colorado. Like, I'm just pointing out what you're saying, how the shit will always stay with you. You know what I mean? Whether it's something that you believe, whether it's something that's found where you're found guilty, innocent, you know, Kobe Bryant and you know, within a week's time of him passing away, one of the greatest NBA players, all the things that you can spotlight for this man, and Oprah found a way to bring that up. Like, so that's my point there.
And I think it sets a dangerous precedent for celebs in general, because what's stopping me from going to get a lawyer and say, you know, Mariah Carey touched me, you know, at a concert. You know what I mean? Like, you just, like I said, it's no real legal ramifications that are going to happen to these people, because they're insulated by the way that they're doing it. Their lawsuits, so they haven't really said anything criminal. They're just coming at them with lawsuits, and you can sue anybody. That's they pretty much insulated, because you can sue anybody. You can sue anyone without having any real penalty. So, I mean, it's yeah. I hate to say it, but it's bullshit, man.
Well, let's be realistic. You're a man, so you probably take, you know, more slander on your name for bringing it up if it did happen, because you're less of a man for making that allegation, for reporting that, right? That's the hardest part for men, right? And what makes it even more difficult in these situations is right? And how fucked up our society is you could get into a conversation with somebody and they might be playing part. She might be on it with you, EJ, talking about it. Oh yeah, I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it. And then as soon as you cross that one line where she feels that uncomfortable, you're wrong, right? If she reports it, you're out of luck. You lose, you know. And I get the sensitivity around it, but I just feel like we are too sensitive to it, and we don't do our just due to ensure that everything is valid when we see these allegations. So, and I think it's something like this. If it does come out to be, you know, an invalid case, man, is it going to make it even more difficult? And it sucks, you know, because there are people that have lived through this. There are people that are going to continue to live through this. Just the way the world goes, unfortunately. And to have to try and bring it up and have to, you know, prove to people that you felt uncomfortable and that something happened because someone decided they wanted to try and take a shot at a football player is just ridiculous.
Let me ask this question. With the connection of the lawyer to the owner, because there's obviously, you know, and the past owner, I think passed on, and I think it's his son now or something that's running the show. But with that connection, let's just say this was something that was concocted by the Texans. What is the end game? Like, what does this do for you? Like, does this make? Do you think that this makes other teams not want to trade for him? Like, I can't see my team being the Jets saying, you know, this is bullshit, and we found out it's bullshit. I'm still gonna want to trade for this motherfucker. So, like, I don't understand
Right.
what this is doing.
It's just a classic case of you know, if we can't be lovers, we can't be friends type of thing. They probably just feel like they can slander and slander his name and drag him through the mud, and people won't want him. Maybe that's what they're thinking, or maybe they're just trying to get out of the contract, right? Maybe there's something built into it that if he gets suspended due to misconduct, you know, they don't have to pay him bonuses or something like that, right? So maybe they're trying to get out of that because, you know, they know he's not happy, and they're going to have a portion of it due, you know, whether they trade him or whether whether they release him.
You know, I hope that there's no, you know, shenanigans happening here, like with the team, like the lawyer living next door. That complicates the thing a lot. You know what I mean? I mean, people can't help where they live, right? Like, you know, you've made it in life enough to be able to live in this neighborhood, whether you moved in or the owner moved in. You know, y'all live next door. You know, people live where they live, right? So I hope it's just that. You know what I mean? Like, if my neighbor upstairs turns out to be a serial killer, like, what does that say? Does that say something about me? Like, motherfucker moved in. You know what I mean? So I hope it's nothing.
The coincidence is way too close.
No, and that's and I'm kind of going there a little bit. But having said that, right? If you had asked me, you know, 15 years ago, I'd have been like, nah, there's no way I think that a team would be involved in this kind of shit, right? But then you look at things that organizations in sports have done. You got the Patriots with the tapes and the deflated footballs. You got the what was the team in baseball stealing the signals?
Houston.
Astros. Yeah, Houston. The Astros stealing the signals and shit like that. You know, so I can't say that they didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like I hope they didn't. You know, but I can't say with certainty that there's no way the team would be involved in this kind of shit, you know?
Yeah, it's just too coincidental, man. Like, oh, my former neighbor who has a connection to my franchise is the leading lawyer coming at my current player. That just all the lawyers in Houston gotta be my neighbor, huh? I don't know.
Yeah, if it comes out that the league finds that the team had something to do with it, I agree with Trevor. He says that, you know, the owner should be sanctioned and expelled. I think they should be blackballed like Donald Sterling was.
Lose the team.
And be forced to sell. Absolutely.
Yep. Lose the team.
Absolutely. There's just no room for it in the NFL. When they're talking about how much they want to protect the integrity of the shield, this would be the epitome of it. You forget about what the players are doing. Forget about the players kneeling. Forget about the players smashing bitches. Forget about the players going out to the club, getting into fights, getting drunk, doing bad shit, drunk driving. Like none of that has any impact in comparison to the league putting forth false accusations on a player. I'm sorry, not a league, but a team putting forth false accusations on a player for their own gain.
Yeah. And part of it too, like, you know, we talked about this offline when I said that you know, I wondered, especially like given like the scammy vibes that I got with the whole contacting him on social media kind of thing, right? And um I wondered, like, are these is it an opportunistic kind of thing? You know, they see that this dude's trying to be traded, you know, to EJ's point earlier, or maybe it was Steve, I'm not sure, you know, about hurting trade value. Maybe a team is looking at him and is like, I don't know if we want to move forward with this dude. He has all this shit happening right now, you know, and maybe it tries to force his hand into a settlement to make it go away in order to not interrupt the whatever football operation he got going on as far as being traded, you know. And that was one of the first things I thought, especially when I learned about the whole contacting on social media thing, because that kind of thing, that's not how you handle things legally. You know, they could have contacted the team and said, hey, can you put us in touch with a representative for Watson because, you know, XYZ. They could have contacted his agent. You know, there are multiple ways that they could have got in contact with him in order to move a legal proceeding forward. Like, you hit me up on social media, though. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, and it was basically pay or else. That's basically what it was. It's like pay or else this is going public. He literally threatened him. Literally, there's no other way around it. They literally threatened him.
I mean, is that any different from what happened with Ezekiel Elliott when he got suspended?
Yeah, and that was bogus all in itself.
You know, they had the text message from Broad, and the league still stepped in and suspended them. Right? They got to protect the shield. There's that, man. The pandemic has seemed to be having some impact. A lot of big couples breaking up lately. Sweetie and Quavo broke up. Allegedly, Quavo got caught cheating. Quavo is a member of the Migos, one of the largest rap groups in the game today. Gary Owen, one of my favorite comedians, white guy, black wife. She filed for divorce as well. Yeah.
Wow, I heard that.
Yeah. So I think the pandemic is catching up with people, man. You get locked in and you see just how much, you know, how many small, you know, intricacies can, you know, really frustrate you and get you to that point. But Quavo, man, shout out to him. I just brought it up because I wanted to shout him out because he is a hero for all men. Sweetie, you know, broke up with him, put him on blast on the internet, and this man sent the repo man to her house to take away the fucking Lambo that he bought her. So shout out to him. Now I have an idea. If anybody, listen, if I buy you a $500 1990 Honda Accord, I'm sending a repo man to get it, even if it's paid.
Oh man,
not all heroes wear capes, man.
No, it's crazy, man. Like with the pandemic and being shut in, you know, I've said this a lot. I mean, people probably say it everywhere. Like, you know, like in relationships, there's like an 80-20 kind of thing. You know, there's 80% of the stuff the person does that you like, you love, whatever, and there's some shit they do that you can't stand. But you know, the 80 outweighs the 20, right? And
allegedly,
in normal times, you know, you guys have jobs, you know, so you're at work, you know, you're doing activities with the kid, you know, whatever. So
you get a chance to miss them.
Yeah, you get a chance to be away. But now you're in a pandemic, you're forced to stay inside. And then that 20 starts hitting hard after, you know, it's been 3 months. And it's
the 20 turns to 80, bro.
yeah, exactly. Like the equation flips. You know what I mean? And it's like, even though the 80 is great, you know, that 20, the weight of that 20 just starts hitting, man. And it's like, man, if this motherfucker turn the volume up one more time on this goddamn TV show, I'm about to go berserk.
Right. Right. The smallest. Listen, man, it's the
Yeah.
smallest shit. EJ, you probably been okay. You've been all right through it right now.
I've been great.
I tell you, you're not missing this one. It'd be the smallest thing, the slightest thing, and there's two ways. I'm sure women probably feel the same way about us. It could be the lightest,
no doubt,
thing, because we usually spend more time out of the house at work. Toilet seats not left up as often, as frequently. That might be the one. That might be the tipping point. There's just so many things, man. But hopefully we'll come to an end here shortly. Hopefully, things are starting to open up. Miami is gonna make Florida something nasty. That Miami spring break. I don't know if you guys have seen videos of it, bruh. It's so bad that Miami has has put a 8 o'clock curfew. I want to say, VP. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Insane. Yeah, it's people are irresponsible, right? and we know that that's going to happen, and that's why the government is supposed to be in place to say, there's this issue, and we're not going. We know people like to come to Miami, Daytona, Orlando, whatever, get spring break. They're trying to have some fun. They want to get away, but we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic, So let's not do that shit now or whatever. But the governor, is like, fuck that. We're open for business. They asked him, was he going to do the vaccine passports? So, you guys probably seen on social media. I have mine. I can't reach it right now, but they give you like a card from the CDC that shows the date, which vaccine you got, what kind of thing like that. And they were saying like our state's going to start implementing vaccine passports where you have to show that you've been vaccinated before you come in or whatever. DeSantis, the governor, is like, no, we're not doing that. Come, we're open. Bring everybody. And these variants of the virus are like going crazy in South Florida right now, and he seems to be doing nothing about it. And all of us have kids, right? And so we know our kids are going to want to stick a fork in an electrical socket or start a fire or something like that with just playing with the stove. And so we put measures in place to make sure that doesn't happen. You put the little stopper thing in the electrical socket, or you put the gate in the kitchen so they can't get in and start drinking the bleach and shit. You don't say, let's see what happens. Just have at it, son. Like this shit is so irresponsible, man. So irresponsible.
Yeah.
This governor has failed us in Florida, and I can't wait till 2022 to vote this motherfucker out of office, yo.
Yeah, it's been a continual thing in Florida for you guys, man. And just looking at the videos and the pictures, just hundreds of people. I mean, a lot of cheeks out. I like that. I'm all for that. But just looks nasty, man. Like, wow, like sheesh. Virus city, super spreaders. Just it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw some interesting videos, man. It's going crazy out there in Miami. I'll stay as far from it as possible, man. Just irresponsible. People are just super irresponsible. Trevor brought it up, man, and I guess we should not. I guess, but we should address it. A killing, another shooting, another American Christian white male just having a bad day, huh?
Terrorists.
No, he's just having a bad day. Just a young troubled man having a bad day.
Terrorists. And so, I mean, I've been on this issue now a couple of pods in a row, and this is what I've been saying. And shout out to Biden again in his address, talking about it. But this shit, because of what Trump has done, and because of what he promoted, and these white racist people, having this mindset and feeling emboldened about this, Asian people across this nation have been suffering. And it's just like, I see the video where the Asian woman was attacked by a young guy. fuck the ethnicity, man. It's just morally watching a young man attack an old woman. Something about that has to bother you. It has to. And now here we have this terroristic act where this coward killed people, and for what? It's disgusting, man. And the thing that pisses me off most is when oppressed and marginalized people from other ethnicities and cultures say, well, they wasn't standing with us when we had this issue. Like, come on, man. First of all, you don't know that. One. Two, there are Asian people that were on the front line. There were Asian Panthers. There were Asian civil rights leaders. There are people that are Asian that have probably done more than your black ass is doing. And if you can't see, like Dr. King said, an injustice anywhere, there's injustice everywhere. So the way that these people are coming at Asian Americans, what the fuck makes you think it could just stop there? What makes you think it's gonna stop there? When we had Dylan Roof and we had all these other people, like it's not good. It's not good for one. It's not good for all, man. And it's just fucking it's sickening to me because I just can't imagine how if I have an elderly mother or someone in my family and they're just being attacked by some punk on the street simply because they're Asian or they're black or Hispanic. What happens next? What happens next? What if it was a Cuban person? What if the virus came from Cuba, or what if the virus came from Puerto Rico or Africa, or would we have to be worried about these fucks coming around trying to attack us and doing everything? We've already suffered from it, but I mean, it's just like in 2021, if you can't see how this is a problem for everybody, you're the problem.
Nah, you're I mean you're exactly right, man. It's this shit is insane, man. Like that, it's part of America's original sin, and it's never been addressed, which is why it continuously is a problem, right? Real quick, I just wanted to say something about the bad day thing. So, Keisha Lance Bottoms, the mayor of Atlanta, she kind of had this officer's back a little bit. She says before they came out to the press conference, he was explaining to them like what the guy was telling them when they took him into custody or whatever, and that she was saying that the officer was trying to relay what the dude said about having a bad day or whatever. It was super inartful, you know what I mean? But at the same time, though, we find out this same officer, is on Facebook selling T-shirts, talking about China virus and shit like that. Um, so I'm not trying to have his back. I'm just, trying to explain what the mayor of Atlanta said when that happened. But EJ is exactly right, man. Where if you are seeing what happened and as a black person or any a minority person, you're like, well, how about when this happened with us, where were they and all that kind of thing. You're looking at this thing the wrong way, and the words he spoke from Martin Luther King about injustice somewhere is injustice everywhere or whatever, that's 100% correct. And we need to stand together as people of color, whether you're Hispanic, black, Asian, whatever, to say that this shit is not okay. You know what I mean? And it's just the shit is just heartbreaking, man. It's fucking heartbreaking to see the things that these folks are going through of Asian descent. I saw this morning Eddie Glaude on Meet the Press was saying, the thing with Asian people for them is that it's like they kind of live in these two spaces where they've been considered like the model minority, but they're also a permanent foreigner, and it's so true, man. But this shit has to fucking stop, man. It has to fucking stop.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you sit and you think about it, there's not much that I got to say about it, because you guys covered it well. But it just makes you think, man, when you sit there and you think like at any moment somebody can end it all for you, right? Just thinking about tomorrow's not promised. And I know this isn't, it's not specific to, what took place, but just in general, man. And it does bring you to start to think about, gun ownership. Like VP talks about pretty strongly on a regular basis. And you think about, could this have been prevented through stronger gun laws, through, you know, more mental health screening for gun ownership or gun purchases. We don't know the backstory of where he got the guns from and stuff, but it's just tough, man, when you see stuff like this. And we've now seen an individual walk into a black church, kill a bunch of people. We've now seen individuals walking into Asian spas, kill a bunch of people. We've seen people target a country concert in fucking Vegas. So it just seems like victims don't have a race anymore. I get what we're talking about. This is a huge problem right now, but I think underlying there's got to be some discussion about the bigger issue here. What's the root cause of it all?
Racism. That's the thing that we can't, as a nation. This is the thing that's what we've seen. January 6th, the Capitol police officers discuss how in my uniform, we talked about blue lives, talked about kneeling, all this bullshit. But come January 6th, white American terrorists stormed the Capitol. There was some other ethnicities there, fools, terrorists, same, but they were hitting DC cops, Capitol Police, black ones, calling them niggers, hitting them in their badge, in their uniform, calling them niggers. Literally, we're talking about law enforcement agents being attacked not only because they were law enforcement agents, but they were also being called niggers. And it could have been a gun, it could have been a knife, it could have been anything. We just look at the assaults that are taking place on the streets randomly for no reason other than these people ethnicity. And just imagine, could you imagine getting a call that your elderly relative was attacked by some punk on the street, and you see this little woman with a fucking swollen face? Like, how does humanely, how do you even sit well with that?
Yeah.
And it's no other reason other than this person is Asian. I couldn't imagine what I don't even like to even think what I would do. I don't even like to think. I don't like to. It's just it's come on, man. Like, and I think we've said this before. I think we as a people of color and minorities, we let our guard down. We let our guard down. We thought because LeBron and all these people out here, Jay-Z getting money, that money changes everything. But we forget, and we let some of the subtle instances and things that happen in this nation, we take it for granted. Every time we see somebody attacked and killed and something because of their ethnicity, we take it for granted. And it's in our faces.
And
I think
not just that though, EJ, right? Because you have the underlying, the foundation, which is the racism, right? And then you have someone who was in the highest office in the land, the president, and I'm talking about Donald Trump specifically, who is basically piping this shit out over his Twitter account, over his public media appearances. China, China, China. He's saying shit like Kung flu and the China virus and all that kind of bullshit, right? And then when people are going out and attacking Asian folks, right? And then folks in the media ask him about it. You don't think that your rhetoric and you saying X, Y, and Z about China and COVID and linking them and things like that is having an impact. And he's like, no, there's nothing to see here. You know, and so you essentially you're pouring gasoline on a fire that was already going, and then the shit starts raging, and then you basically say there's nothing to see here, right? And then you add on the fact that you have a Department of Justice, right? On the legal community, which for people who don't know, in this country, the Department of Justice is very founding, was to try to help protect Black people for civil rights issues after slavery ended. That was the whole purpose of the founding of the Justice Department, right? So um 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 in its DNA, the Department of Justice, they're are there to help protect people from racism, right? But they're not out there, charging folks with hate crime violations and sending them to jail for X number of years longer because whatever you did was a hate crime, etc. They take this hands off approach or whatever, and allow this shit to just continue to flourish or whatever. And now, the shit has boiled over. It's gone out of fucking control now. Where you have somebody showing up at a place that they're saying, "Oh, we don't know the motive yet." Shit's racism, in my opinion. You go to a place that is owned, frequented, and mostly populated by Asian folks, and of the 8 people you kill, 6 of them were Asian. You say it was because you had some kind of sex addiction or whatever. People who are experts in sex addiction say, "Yeah, that sounds like bullshit to me." Right? On your way to the fucking spa,
EJ,
you on your way to the spa, you pass strip clubs and all other kind of places that deal in the sex industry. You bypass those places to go to these Asian spas or whatever. And then the thing that really kind of pissed me off about the situation, right? We've all heard the tropes and things like that about these kind of massage parlors and shit like that. The situation with the crafty and that kind of thing, right? And but the guy says that, and then it's just taken at face value that these establishments were one of those kind of places, right? This place could have been a legit get a massage. There's no fucking rub and tug, whatever. I keep losing my, what I'm trying to say. Rub and tugs
Crafties
happening here. There's no crafties happening, right?
Unless you're Deshaun.
But he says that that's why he went there, and then it's just taken at face value that this is one of those establishments or whatever,
as if that's a fucking excuse for murdering 8 people.
Exactly.
Oh, because my man's got a crafty there. I'm gonna go shoot people there.
Yeah, he had to stop the crime.
If anything, you're a fucking dick for not allowing the American society to be what it is. So what? I'm getting a crafty there, bitch. We do my thing.
Yeah, it's a target. I mean, I wonder, I guess they have to do some more research. I wonder if there's any background on, anytime they see stuff like this, they negate to mention, people have to dig up the Facebook pages with the images of them at Trump rallies or wearing Trump gear, MAGA gear. But when it's a black person, man, the first thing they do is, well, look at this picture. They were smoking marijuana this one time. So clearly they would have been unruly towards the police. So, but I'd like to see what the backstory for this guy is, to know a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, it's that establishment. To your point, VP, couldn't hit a strip club if that's what you're worried about. It's plenty of those, especially in Atlanta. But then we would have had a whole nother problem because the Atlanta strip clubs is us. So.
And then also, Steve, you brought up the point about guns, and we've talked about that issue a lot. So I'm not gonna go there, but I will say this: the last report that I saw on this situation in Atlanta said that the police said that the guy bought the gun the same week that the shooting happened, right? And so just think about the fact that in the state of Georgia, let's just say Georgia only, right? You can buy a gun and kill 8 people in the same day. They say he bought it that week, so I don't know if it's the same day, but still, you could literally buy a gun and kill 8, 9, 10 people the same day, right? You can't register and vote on the same day. Think about that.
But the sad part is, again, and we always say this, and I get that piece of it. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. You know what I mean? Like, you still have to operate the gun. You know what I mean? You chose to unlawfully use it in an act of violence. So if it wasn't the gun, look at Virginia. The motherfucker used a car, killed a woman, in Charlottesville. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not negating the gun issue around anything in any other way, but this motherfucker is the problem. This white racist terrorist is the problem. McVeigh and the bombing. I mean, anywhere, just look at the history of this country, of what it's been. And VP, I mean, you said it best when we had the leader and chief commanding officer of the nation peddling this shit. You get January 6th. You get this. It's just that racism is it's the root of it all. It's the root of it all, and it's just it should be no place for that. Should be no place for that. And I'm waiting to see, like you said, Steve, what they drag up and see what's going on. But it's taking too long. It's absolutely taking too long. Like, why are we
Yeah.
not hearing about more? And you can't tell me that they didn't know that this guy wasn't somewhere posting something and saying something. I mean, it's just, the law is just not working for us in that manner. It's just not.
Yeah. And not just us. Anybody that's a non-white American Christian, the law's just not working in their favor. It's tough. Before we get into bingeables, VP, anything going on the political front that we should probably touch on?
On politics, not much, man. The only thing that really happened this week, of course, is more people's stimulus payments have been going out.
Oh,
IRS
really?
And
those started? Fucking Joe, piece of shit. Where's my MAGA hat? I got one on.
But that's been so that's continuing to go on. The money is getting ready to start going out to states. The CDC actually put out some new guidelines on schools, saying that instead of, as long as they're going to have masks and things like that, that kids in school who are grades 8 and below can have 3 feet of social distancing versus the 6 feet. They put those new guidelines out. So I guess states will be implementing that soon to try to get schools back reopened. They still want 6 feet for high school kids because older kids can spread the virus more efficiently than younger kids can. So that came up this week. That's partly why Joe and Kamala went to Atlanta. They were going to take a victory lap, saying, thank you to Georgia for sending 2 Democrats to the Senate, which allowed the COVID relief bill to be passed. And then the shooting in Atlanta happened. They changed up the trip or whatever. Instead of taking a victory lap, they went to, console the people of Atlanta. The next thing that Joe Biden and his administration has put forward, or not put forward, but they've started sending out signals that the next move they're going to make is going to be on infrastructure. So you'll probably start seeing a lot more of Pete Buttigieg, since he's the transportation secretary out there. You'll probably start seeing him a lot more on your TV and things like that, because they're going to start getting ready to roll into infrastructure to try to start rebuilding, our crumbling infrastructure in this country, whether it's roads, bridges, airports, adding broadband in some of these more rural areas and things like that. So that'll be the next thing that you see happening. On that front, they can use the reconciliation process to pass infrastructure reform if they want to do it. So they would only need Democratic votes. And given how successful the COVID bill has been, you've actually seen some Democrats actually proposing spending more money. They were talking about doing around about a $2 trillion infrastructure plan. And some Democrats are saying, well, fuck that. People loved it when we did COVID, and it was, let's do 4. So you may see them swinging for the fences on this infrastructure package and trying to do something real big. But those are kind of the things that were happening in the political space. And then, of course, you have states around the country that are still working to pass voter suppression laws in the various states since the January 5th election in Georgia, that those 2 Democrats, Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, won those seats. There have been some 250 bills proposed in 48 states around the country to essentially make it harder to vote under the guise of, election integrity and trying to stop voter fraud and all that kind of bullshit. If you're somebody who's listening to this podcast and you believe that voter fraud is real, I'll leave you with this one statistic. In the last 50 years, there have been 1,500 cases, so 1,500 cases of voter fraud found in the last 50 years. In that same time frame, there have been more than 3 billion with a B like boy, votes cast. So voter fraud in this country is not a problem.
Let's not also forget the armed Texan outside of Kamala Harris's home. Can we get some information on that, VP? Or did you know anything about that?
No, I knew it happened, but so much shit has been going on. I thought it was last week, so that's why I thought we talked about it last week, but I didn't realize that it was the same, this past week or whatever. But yeah, there was an armed guy who was found outside of the Naval Observatory, which is where the vice president lives. He wasn't armed, but when they arrested him and searched, they found his vehicle nearby. He had guns and a bunch of ammunition in his vehicle. The thing that hasn't been made clear to me in any media story that I found is that they said he was outside of the home, and I'm not sure how the Naval Observatory, because it's basically a Navy base that's in the DC area. I'm not sure like how accessible the vice president's residence is to the public. So when they say outside the home, I don't know if they mean like he was on the base, he was outside the gates of the base, or was he outside of the actual home? Because I'm pretty sure there's some kind of perimeter that's set up for that place. Also, with that said, as bad as that is, and I'm not trying to excuse it, Kamala Harris actually doesn't live in the vice presidential residence right now because they're doing renovations on it. She actually lives at Blair House, which is the president's guest house that's across the street from the White House. So she's been living there since assuming the vice presidency. So at least we know that she was safe from this guy or whatever. But that did happen this week. But the details are kind of sketchy on or not sketchy, but they're kind of there's not a lot of information out there. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Indeed.
Yeah, I saw an article that said something like he was hiding from the police or something like that. They try to make it's almost like they try to sweep it under the rug to make it seem as though he wasn't there with intentions.
Not and you know what, Steve? I we see like movies and we see like all the security that's around the president and the vice president, and we think that these people are really safe. And then you see these stories of the intruders that got close to Obama and all these various things that have happened. And I think that the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees the Secret Service, I think they need to do a real deep dive on the security measures that are in place around our leaders, because there's been some real lapses. Over the Obama years, we had the people who jumped the White House fence. We had that one guy who jumped the White House fence and actually got inside the White House, and you had the incident. There was an incident where Obama was at the CDC for a presidential visit, and there was a security guy who was on the elevator with him who had a gun. That he was an armed security guy. But that kind of shit, they don't just have like randoms with guns around the president, unless they're the Secret Service agents. You know what I mean? You had this incident with Kamala. About 3 weeks ago, there was an incident where some guy just strolled onto Andrews Air Force Base, where they keep Air Force One, and was walking around, getting on and off the planes, looking inside. Now, they say he never got close to Air Force One, but he got close to not got close. He actually went inside other planes that are like government planes or whatever. And the only reason that they found this guy was that it was somebody up in the tower who was looking out and was like, the fuck is that guy on the flight line with this hat on or whatever? He looked out of place. And so the dude called security and they came and roped this dude up. But the overall point I'm making is that they need to like sit back and relook at security and try to fix some of these lapses, because at this point we've been lucky at this point, and there's this saying that Secret Service agents say in any documentary I've seen on their institution, where they say we have to be right 100% of the time. The bad guy only has to be right once, right? But they haven't been right. They've been more lucky. When you look at these incidents I've described, like literally some guy just walked on the base where they have Air Force One, and he's walking around getting on and off of planes and shit. like imagine if that guy had some kind of ill will or was carrying some kind of explosive device or some shit. They got to get more serious on this shit, man.
Yeah, there's two pieces to that, that I say to that. One, the Secret Service isn't fucking secret anymore. Like, somebody like you who reads on weird shit regularly knows what the fuck they're doing, right? The ins and outs of what they're probably not 100%, but you got a good percentage of what what their job role is, and different things that they do and don't do, the number of people there are, and shit like that, right? What their expectations are. But the other side of it is just fucking the workforce nowadays, right? The people that are supposed to, and I'm not talking about Secret Service. I'm talking about the people that might be employed to do security at like the Air Force Base or something like that. They're too wrapped up in their fucking phones. All right, so if I look down and I'm on fucking TikTok and I'm like, look at that, look at that, look at that, you might miss somebody strolling on. You know what I'm saying? Or if I'm supposed to be paying attention to the wall to make sure nobody jumps the goddamn wall at the White House, and I'm looking down at fucking Instagram, you might miss that. And it's just the people are so wrapped and tangled with their phones and with technology and with social media. I think that's part of it, but just the work ethic nowadays, man. People cut corners in everything. People are just there for the paycheck. Everybody wants to go viral and get rich that way. Nobody wants to work for the dollar no more, man.
I'm gonna put it this way. I'm gonna go another angle. As a nation, we spend so much money in military defense in other places, um, and I think largely because we as a nation have been spoiled to think that we're untouchable on our own lands, and
Paper
also
tiger.
exactly, and also, we as a nation we haven't safeguarded ourselves from these white racist terrorists on our own lands. And now when it's coming back on us, we're seeing how ill prepared we really are. I mean, just January 6th alone, that day alone should be glaring in security history. Like we we were minutes and feet and just instances away from losing our elected officials that run this nation to the Joe Hillbillies of this nation all around the country coming to do harm to these people. I mean, it was that serious, you know.
Yeah.
So I think if that's not evidence enough, I don't know what is.
Nah, EJ, that's a great point, man. And if you think about on January 6th, the people that were in the Capitol, you had the vice president next in line to the presidency, Speaker of the House second in line to the presidency, President pro temp third in line to the presidency, the majority leader, minority leader of the Senate, the House on both sides. You had the incoming vice president who was there. All those members of Congress, like these people literally could have literally decapitated our government. You know what I mean? And to see how easy it was is insane. And it's like EJ said, like we've gotten lax, and I think that we believe because of our power, because of our status as a superpower in the world, and the might of our military and our nuclear arsenal and all that kind of thing like that, that we're untouchable. And that's why I used the term paper tiger a moment ago, because you know, like you think about like things that happened in our country, right? During the Cold War, we were going back and forth with Russia, but we won the Cold War. The Russians are interfering in our elections in 2016. We haven't done anything about it. I mean, yeah, we put some sanctions in place, but really we haven't done anything about it. They interfered in our elections again in 2018. We haven't done shit about it. They've interfered in 2020, according to this report from the Director of National Intelligence that came out this week. We haven't done anything yet. Biden said they're going to pay a price. We there are going to be things that will happen that will probably be seen and unseen, according to him. But we haven't done anything about it. And so, you can't be, you know, um, you know, I, I always like to quote The Wire. And there's a scene in The Wire, like, you know, you can't be the man if you're always getting your shit took, you know, like,
It's a true statement.
and that's us right now. You know, we're getting our shit took. And so I'm not, as a person who's a veteran, and I'm not a person who advocates for war and that kind of thing. But at some point, we're gonna have to show other countries that, hey, this shit is not acceptable for you to be doing this shit to us. You know what I mean? And it kind of goes to that point, Steve, when we talked about when Biden launched the airstrike a couple of weeks into his presidency, and you were saying, well, you know, how come you didn't say anything? You're always, you know, saying that, you know, and I was, because I support that shit. You know, these people killed our people over there. And so we let them know that this shit is unacceptable. But let's not just be fucking swinging our dicks in the Middle East. You know, we need to let the Russians or the Chinese know this shit is not acceptable. You know what I mean? And
we need to let Americans know that this shit ain't acceptable.
No doubt.
To EJ's point, January 6th is still, I mean, that's swept under a fucking rug. Like, they're catching these guys sporadically here and there, but you're not hearing about this. This should still be in the fucking media. Like, this isn't something that we should have just been like, oh, well, it's February, let's move on to the next thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy part is
it's out there, depending on where you watch your news at.
And the crazy part, yeah, and the crazy part is, you know, they're taking leniency on these guys, you know, transferring them because they don't have a kosher or organic diet. You know, like like this is insane, man. Like it's literally insane. And you know, we're worried about all these other things except for our own borders. And it's like those things like VPR always talks about, you know, the culturally accepted norms. We just assume as a society nothing like this shit should happen. But it does. And
we
here
frown
we
we frown on all these other people, and this is gonna sound bad, but hear me out. We frown on these other people like Saddam. We frown on these people like Osama, right? But what the fuck do you think would happen if you had that type of disloyalty, right? Or that type of treason, you know, under their watch? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Niggas wouldn't be, oh, you want keto diet? All right, well, let's see if we can just make a bunch of bacon. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't go down like that. These dudes need to be held accountable to the full extent of the law, and there need to be some ass whoopings, and it needs to be publicized so that people know, all right, well, maybe I'm not going to storm the fucking Capitol building. Maybe I'll think twice before I do that because I don't want to lose my fucking nose.
Yeah, it's crazy just to see that, you know, to replay those videos and you see the woman that was basically crying because she got maced. You know, this was your everyday lady that you see,
kindergarten teacher,
somebody's office, somebody's school, some, you know, in the mall. Like, these people are among us, man. And I don't know.
And you, EJ, you know what I thought about the other day is, you know, whenever it's Black History Month and we, you know, you start seeing people never forget and look back and all kinds of things like that, and you see those pictures of like lynchings, and you see people all around, and nothing happens to those people, right?
Yep.
Even they're photographed at this fucking public murder, and nothing happened, right?
Yep.
And in all those photos you see, there's always kids there.
Always a little girl.
Those kids at those lynchings are some of these adults who we probably seen storm the Capitol, because they grew up thinking, when we do this kind of shit, there's no consequences, you know? So we can publicly murder somebody, have it photographed, and nothing happened, or we can storm the Capitol and nothing happened. And to your point, Steve, you see the woman who got maced thinking, like, they fucking maced us. Like, what the fuck?
We were taking back the Capitol. We're taking back the election, and they maced us.
You see motherfuckers coming out of the Capitol giving interviews, dog. Like, bro, like, imagine like some dude on the corner who just sold a fucking ounce, and then he's on CNN like, yo, yeah, I was nowhere around the corner, you know what I mean? Like, my man said he wanted a dime back. I was like, yo, I got the ounce, what you want to do? And he was like, oh, you know, holla at your boy. You know, shit went down, you know, it's all good, and I'm paid. You know what
Or
I'm saying?
taking selfies.
Yeah.
You got people taking selfies in fucking offices. If somebody took a selfie of themselves fucking selling drugs and put that shit on the internet, the cops is gonna come. You know what I'm saying? You going to jail.
Right. And like the thing that always got me, and I'm glad they've arrested this guy, was the one who was in Pelosi's office with his feet on desk, right?
Yeah.
And he literally says, he does an interview and he's like, yeah, I was in there, I had my feet on her desk, and I wrote a note on her desk, left it on her desk, and I said, hey Nancy, I want you to know Big O was here, you bitch. You know, this dude did an interview.
Oh
You know what I'm saying?
man.
Like, and then he got
Because he's a
arrested, right?
hero. He's a
And
hero to
you
some.
guys probably didn't see this. So he went for he had a court hearing. This was about 2 weeks ago. This dude goes berserk at the court hearing because he hasn't had his bail hearing yet. He wants to get out on bail, and when the judge said that they were gonna be delaying it for like 6 weeks, this dude like went the fuck off. Like, what the fuck? Like, why am I still in here? Da, da, da. It's like, yo, you're criminal, dog. That's why you in there.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like Steve said with the guy talking about, oh, I need to have a you know a vegan diet or whatever. You know, I mean, and I'm not one of these people who try to think that people in jail should be treated like shit. But it's also hard, man. It's hard to not feel like fuck those people, yo. You know what I mean? Like the same shit when we talk about the treatment of people of color with crack versus how white people are treated with opioids, and this same situation with people who've gone to jail for low-level drug offenses, people who are in jail for unpaid traffic tickets, people who are in jail who haven't even been found guilty of a crime. They're simply there because they can't afford fucking bail, right? And they're in there being treated like shit. You stormed the Capitol. You tried to fucking decapitate the government of this country, and then you fucking complaining about not getting a vegan diet. Like, yo, fuck you, dog. You know what I mean?
I concur.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible, man. I mean, I can't even, and it's just like every time I watch the black officer who's been like the spokesperson for Capitol Police, I can't remember his name, but every
Eugene Goodman.
time, yeah, no, not the one that not the one that saved Romney. It's another brother who was an officer. Basically, he's been telling his story about that
Okay.
day and being out there. And it just blows my mind every time because it's just like this, like you said, this was the head of our American government. They attacked the Capitol, they killed people. I just I can't believe it. It's unreal, and maybe it's more surreal for me also because I physically, work in DC and I've been around there, and I would never imagine that could happen. It just blows my mind. Like I still can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah. And I've never been to DC, but just like the stuff that I've read and seen, like on the Secret Service and all these other like security agencies, like in my mind, it would be like they gotta have like some super secret shit. If something happens, they're gonna press a button, and then XYZ is gonna happen, and then these people are gonna be repelled, and then this quick reaction force is gonna show up and shut this shit down. No, none of that happened.
None of it.
You know what I mean? Like dog, like it's insane, man. It's insane. And to EJ's earlier point, part of it could just be that the Capitol Police officers think, oh, we're the Capitol Police, nobody's coming here. It's all good. You know what I mean? And they weren't ready for that shit. Like, oh, it's they need to really rethink security. And the sad part, I've said it before on the podcast, is that once they do reimagine security, it's gonna make our government get further away from us. The president, when the automobile was invented, used to ride in a top-down limousine. You know, and then JFK got shot, and then the security bubble expanded. Pennsylvania Avenue, EJ's familiar with it since he works in the DC area. Pennsylvania Avenue, the street in front of the White House, that used to be a road where cars drove on. And after Oklahoma City, they shut that shit down. Now it's only open to foot traffic, And so these kind of things happening, you're going to see the perimeter pushed out further, which is going to make the bubble that the politicians are in, it make them further away from the people, which is going to just hurt our government.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We spent a bit of time on it. But before we get to bingeables, I just want to say rest in peace to marvelous Marvin Hagler. I don't think we talked about that last week. The rumors of him passing away, though, due to the COVID vaccine, have been put to rest. His wife came out and said that is untrue. So let's just make sure we clarify that so people are not spooked and scared away. However, today it was also brought out that the owner of Texas Roadhouse, the steak place, it's a restaurant, committed suicide due to COVID side effects. Shit that he was dealing with. So COVID's a real thing, man. But yeah, rest in peace, Marvelous Marv and EJ. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. It's your time.
Justice League.
It's your time to shine.
Man. So this Thursday, I've been waiting for this day for quite some time. Zack Snyder's reshoot and original score, I guess, for Justice League came out. And man, 4 hours of a complete, well done, well shot story and film. I was blown away the first time I watched it. I've watched it several times after, in different parts. I've just been watching it over and over, and more so this time because I like to critique films and see things that I didn't like and see things that I didn't notice and before. So I've been critiquing it more now, my other watches, but I mean, I've enjoyed it every single time. Warner Brothers, or Who's That Man? An Apology. Joss Whedon is, I don't know what his directing career is going to look like here on out, because the two films are just night and day. And you just look at the crap that Whedon put together, it's just horrible. But yeah, WB needs to just give Zack Snyder back the reins in DC, allow him to put together all of the films that he was gonna put out. We could have had by now 4 years later. It was phenomenal, and for me, it's one of my top two comic films. It's propelled itself into my top two. The first one, it would have to be either between Winter Soldier or this, because I just think the Winter Soldier is just a perfect film, like absolutely nothing wrong with it. But yeah, it was great for me, and I'm hoping Snyder can get back in the lab and go forward with the projects that he had for this universe.
Barry?
So I did watch Justice League. I planned on watching it in parts because I'm like 4 hours, man. And I actually ended up watching it all in one viewing. I will say this. EJ said in the chat that Justice League, and I'm quoting here, was the most epic comic book movie he had ever seen. And I thought that he was doing a bit much there. And I've seen the film, and now I know that he was doing a bit much. I'm in the boat of most DC, if not all DC movies, with the exception of Wonder Woman, were ass. The original Justice League was fucking terrible. This one, however, was much better. I have to give Zack Snyder some credit here. To EJ's point, I don't for people in the audience who may not know, Zack Snyder started off Justice League, and then I believe it was his wife died.
His daughter.
His daughter. I'm sorry. His daughter died. At some point during production, he left the project, to deal, with his family situation, and they brought in Josh Whedon to finish it. And based on what I saw a couple years ago versus what I saw on Friday, I don't know what the fuck happened. You know what I mean? Because like EJ said, it was night and day. I mean, we're talking about even though the movie basically starts the same and ends the same, the shit in the middle, I don't know. You know what I mean? The movie was good. I enjoyed it. So I would have to change my list as far as DC movies are concerned to include Justice League and Wonder Woman as being or not Justice League, the Zack Snyder Justice League and Wonder Woman as being the best DC movies. The rest of them are still ass. DC still needs to work on their CGI because the shit is still not good. You know,
the horses,
but you know, credit is due. This was a much better film than the original. Didn't need to be 4 hours though. You had the classic Snyder shit with all the slow motion. Once you take the slow motion out, you probably have an hour and 45-minute movie. You know, but but other than those small criticisms, man, it was good. And the thing that made me know that it was good, EJ, is like I said, I planned to watch about half of it on Friday, and I was going to finish it up on Saturday. And watching it, like whenever I felt like I was kind of getting to a point to where, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop, something would grab me and keep me watching. You know what I mean? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I really think, like you said, I don't know what's gonna happen to Josh Whedon in the future, but whew, man.
That's good praise from the DC hater, the DC Comics hater.
I think EJ watches comic book movies and grades them based on how consistent they are with the story as they were originally told through the comic book. When he says it's the best or the greatest, that portion where we might grade it as 70-30 with 70 being theatrics, 30 being story, he's basing it 70-30 with 70 being story or 80 being story and 20 to 30 being theatrics. And that's why I think he says that. But
and not just story, how closely does the story track with the comic?
Right. That's what I mean.
Okay.
So to me, it was better. It was much better than the original. I would say much better than the original. I am so tired of Snyder and the slow motion shit. Like, relax. Also, find another way to do the Flash. Like, I think you have a great opportunity in that kid where he could probably turn into the Spider-Man actor equivalent from Marvel, because he seems pretty good at what he's doing.
Tom Hiddleston.
Sure. I thought he did a good job. I hated the slow motion. I hated the opening slow motion. I thought it was too long and too drawn out. You know, setting the tone there. I think you could have done a better way. But overall, I thought it was good. Affleck, he's starting to kind of decline on me a bit as Batman. I do want to know why all villains sound the same. Like, this guy, if I close my eyes, he sounds like Thanos. Like, they all sound the same in all these movies. Wonder Woman, I liked her. There's a couple things I disliked with her. The biggest piece is like that shit. Every time she did something all right, relax, enough. I'm good with that. What else? Aquaman, I thought he did a good job.
Yeah.
You guys are terrible. You guys are
horrible.
He did a good job.
It was.
Aquaman,
but to me,
is the worst character in the movie.
I don't know about that. I think for me, I think the not the worst, but I can't remember his name now. Damn it.
Cyborg.
Look,
Cyborg. Yes.
I'm gonna repeat.
That is the worst one.
I'm gonna repeat all of Aquaman's lines from the entire movie. My man.
You guys are fucking trash. You guys are fucking trash. You guys are
Cyborg was kind of.
You guys are Disney, Marvel, fucking.
I'm holding
if it ain't cheese, if it ain't cheesy and Marvel and feel good, y'all just don't like it. Y'all trash. You trash.
I said it's better.
No,
I didn't say I didn't.
For me, EJ, it was the 80-20 thing. It was 80 good, but there was some 20 that I didn't like.
Yeah,
And part of it is
20 doesn't have, what movie doesn't have 20 something you don't like? Fucking Endgame was slow as fuck for hours until the end. Literally. Slow for hours. Literally.
But here's the difference. Though. Here's the difference.
What difference?
I'm about to tell you. I'm like, here's the difference. What difference? What difference? But you're literally not saying anything about it. You know? The difference is that Marvel spent time building this universe in the movies, right? And they basically give you all of the origin stories of their characters and things like that. Whereas on the DC side, they just threw this movie at you. You know what I mean? And so they have to make this movie do everything. The movie has to be a great team up movie. It has to set up the future. And you know, and as let me give you an example with this Justice League movie, right? There was no end credit scene because they had all the end credit scenes basically at the end of the movie, right? A lot of people probably didn't catch them, you know, setting up, you know, Justice League 2 with the Hall of Justice being destroyed, and some people probably didn't catch the multiverse joint that the Joker threw out and all and that kind of thing. You know, they just threw in Martian Manhunter out of nowhere.
Okay.
He ain't
Again,
been in none of the movies.
nothing you said has anything to do with anything. Endgame was fucking slow the entire movie until the end. And the best and biggest part of it was the ending battle. That was it. And yet people have no qualm with it. Granted, I loved it. I love all of the films. I love all of the comic films. But y'all are just two DC haters. Just admit it. Just stop. Don't say anything else. Just say DC haters.
I'm like the DC hater. I'm a hater of bad movies.
I'm not gonna address that. That's like calling me racist. The joke, the Joker, the Joker scene I really liked. I wish there was more Joker in the movie. I know it wouldn't fit, but yeah, I love. I like Jared Leto, and I want to see more Jared Leto as the Joker. I thought that was a good scene though. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I thought it was much better than the original. I just don't, I can't put it up there as the greatest, right? And again, it goes back to me and VP looking at theatrical versus story, and you looking at story and consistency with the comics over the theatrics. But you know, when the fucking horses that Wonder Woman's mom is riding on, you know, you could see their feet not even touching the ground. Like that tells me they need to do a little bit better with their green screen, man. They need to hire some people. But yeah, I mean, overall was a better. The first one was probably like 4 out of 10, and this one was probably like a 7 out of 10 for me, 6 or 7 out of 10.
This is why no one comes to y'all for comic movie reviews.
But the thing is though, EJ, is that we don't read comics.
No, it's not about just comics. Theatrical, right? Theatrics, right? Like Endgame, again, I was highly disappointed in it, largely because it was so slow. It was like the entire movie going back to and setting things right and all of that was cute, but it was hours of like boring. It was boring up until the end, you know, but it gets a pass because it was boring. It was literally a snooze fest up until the end. Literally.
And
I don't know if I would call it boring.
What else happened in the movie that you remember in Endgame?
Yeah, you had the time heist.
Yeah, they went through the whole reset. They had to go through. Yeah, they had the time trying to figure out that portion of it was pretty good.
And what else?
You know,
exactly. Wakanda. Most of it is forgettable. The Hulk being, you know, in this character and eating a big ass bowl of eggs and then all this shit and then the battle. That was it. It was a boring film up until the end, but it gets a pass.
I wouldn't say boring.
It was boring.
It was. I think. Look, if you look back,
they had to go fix everything. Like, what are you doing? What are you talking about?
If you look back on the whole Endgame, I can see where you're coming from, and maybe it gets a pass because of the nature of them building, you know, 10 years to get to this point. That final battle was very epic. You know what I mean? And so okay, that's fine. Everybody has duds, right? The first Thor was whack. The second Thor was even whacker. You know, Age of
Sheesh.
Ultron was bad, right?
Age
So
of Ultron
there
was
are some misses.
horrible.
Nobody is saying Marvel got everything right, but they built a universe or whatever. They had a lot of hits. They had some misses or whatever. DC didn't build a universe. They said, "You already know Superman and Batman. Boom, Wonder Woman, Justice League, done." You know, and now we don't get a Flash setup movie. We don't get a Martian Manhunter. And for me, I'm not a comics guy. I never read comic books. I used to watch the cartoon. I used to watch the Justice League cartoon, so I know who Martian Manhunter is when I saw him in the movie. But there are people who saw the Black General turn into this alien. Like, what the fuck? Who's that?
Yeah, but I mean, these movies. I mean, these movies are not for people like that. You know, it's just like
they are.
But it's not. It's really not. Like even with Marvel, people went and watched Black Panther and they had no fucking clue what was going on. They just knew it was a bunch of black people in a dope ass place in Africa and Killmonger's like bury me with my people. But
no, you're wrong.
We missed the fact that this
you're
motherfucker
wrong.
was
This is definitely
Wakandans.
This is for those people because remember these comic books and these stories that they're going off of. 80% of the people watching these movies weren't born when these came out, or they weren't reading comics at that time. They might have been extremely young. You know, we're in 2021 now, right? It's different if these movies were put out back when the comics were popping and out and shit like that. But these kids nowadays, they gotta appeal to these teenagers. They gotta appeal even to some of these kids that are.
You think these kids don't? You think these kids haven't been watching the shows and reading comics? Just because the comics are old doesn't mean people don't read them. They do.
I could tell you they haven't.
They
I can tell you
people don't.
I'm not saying
maybe 5% of them, but the other 95% is us. Is people that want to see a good movie, that want to see good CGI. That's what it's about right now.
And that's the thing. Like when you watch a movie, like I remember when I saw the X-Men joint with Apocalypse, right? And when it looked like they might have been introducing the Sinister plot line when they went to the facility. You know what I'm talking about, EJ?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we watched that. I'm sitting there, and right behind me was it was like 4 or 5 like white dudes or whatever. And when they showed the little nugget that looked like they're giving you a little Easter egg, the people behind me literally gasped. And then you start hearing I don't know I'm just watching a movie, dog. I just want to be entertained. You know what I'm saying? Like when you show this lamp that has this thing on it, I don't recognize it. That means nothing to me.
What I'm saying to y'all is, man, y'all are speaking from a place of bias and from yourselves. A large amount of people that go to watch any comic film from any universe are comic fans. For Steve to make an asinine point that people weren't born, like that's like saying you can't be a comic fan just because these comics were out before you were born. Kids go to the comic store. Maybe not kids that y'all know, but kids go to the comic store.
EJ, have you looked at how many people watch this? Have you seen how many when you're talking about ratings, right? And you're talking about sales, first week sales, you're telling me that you think the bulk of those sales are people that are comic book fans, hardcore fans.
I didn't say hardcore fans. I said people that have an idea of what's going on.
No, they don't have. They have no idea.
So y'all telling me everybody that watched it had no idea? Like, come on.
We didn't say everybody.
This is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there are people that are fans of comics.
Sure, 10% or less.
It's not 10% or less.
So let me tell you this. The money that they spend to make these movies, if you take away all the sales from people that don't know comic books, they would be in the red because there's more people watching.
You're talking specifically as if I'm talking about people being experts of comics. No, I'm saying people having general knowledge of superheroes. Like VP said, I didn't read comics. I watched the cartoon. There are hundreds of thousands of people that have some knowledge of what this shit is. I'm not saying that they're experts of comics. Y'all talking like the majority of these motherfuckers went in there and have no clue what's going on. Most people that don't know anything about any of this are not gonna watch a fictional movie about this.
What we're saying is 90% of the people are like VP and 10% are like you.
But VP has an idea of what the fuck is going on.
But he doesn't know the story, and that's what I'm saying.
I'm not talking about that. I'm saying generally, they're not going to a movie and asking why are these people flying around. We know who the fuck Superman is. Like we know. Like,
but he's not talking about just flying around. He's talking about the more detailed characters that
let me give you an
aside
example.
from Superman and fucking Batman.
Right. Let me give you an example. Superman, Batman. I know the origin story. I know about them, the powers, all that kind of shit like that. Right. In the movie, just in the Zack Snyder Justice League, right? Flash is talking to the dad about why he wants to get a criminal justice degree, and Flash says because my father was accused of murdering my mom, which he didn't do. So why wouldn't I want to study criminal justice, huh? That's the first time I've ever heard that. Because I don't know what Flash's backstory is.
Okay,
all I know is
that
he's a kid
that has
Barry
nothing.
Allen who can run fast.
That has nothing to do with anything else, though. What I'm saying is, generally, you brought up Martian Manhunter, right? Oh, he just came out of nowhere. But generally, you know who he is. Why? Because you used to watch the cartoon. It's not like it's not like the majority of these people going in are completely blind about hero stuff. People like that don't even want to waste time on watching that kind of shit because it's not their thing. But generally, if you go watch a film like this, you have a general idea of what's happening. You might not know the intricate details. I'm not talking about that.
But you're misunderstanding what we're saying. We're not talking about just the generalities of what
that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about what you're talking about. I'm talking about the generalities.
All right. Well, then you went way off base for what we're talking about. We're talking about 70% of the people that go watch these movies have a lesser comic book knowledge than you. Probably 80 or 90%.
And I'm not talking about that. What VP brought up, he brought up how they got to do a better job. Martian Manhunter just came out of nowhere.
They do. I agree.
I'm saying generally, somebody who knows a little bit just about this understands where Martian Manhunter comes from. It's not like they just don't fucking know anything at all.
Let me give you an example. If they would have had Endgame, right? And they would have just dropped Captain Marvel in there, 90% without her back movie, 90% of the people that went to watch that would have had no clue who she was and what her existence was. That's what VP's saying.
Right. And Steve, in that's a great point, because when I saw Infinity War, there were people in the theater when Nick Fury goes with the pager in the Captain Marvel symbol goes. I was just sitting there and I heard people in the theater gasp, "Oh my God, they're gonna do!" I don't know what the fuck's going on. So for people like me who don't have a background in comics in that way, you got to try to spoon feed someone, because we don't. At the end of Justice League, the Deathstroke guy shows up. I only know who that was because I had to Google it.
Again,
I had to Google.
You're comparing apples to oranges. In the Captain Marvel situation, we have a backstory, and she becomes a major player in that film. Martian Manhunter just made appearances, so it's being left to be mysterious in those points of the movie. Hence the end where Bruce Wayne doesn't even know who the fuck this guy is. So it's being told like, "Hey, I'm the Martian Manhunter." It's leaving you opportunity to learn later. It's not like he had two scenes. It's not like he was Captain Marvel in this shit and had 5 or 6 scenes and was one of the main heroes. It's not. It was left for you to. It was less for you to know for later on. Why? Because hey, my plan was when I made this shit, we was gonna have a number 2 by now that you're gonna probably get more backstory on him. It's like, come on, you guys are critiquing something that happens in movies all the time.
Okay, I'll take that point, right? And then I'll counter with this point. Flash was a major part of the movie. I don't know anything about him.
You know a lot about Flash.
You know he's fast. That's what he knows.
You know a lot about Flash. You know a lot about Flash, but we don't have to have a significant backstory for Flash to be in this movie. We didn't. We knew, and if you couple this movie with Batman versus Superman, you know that Bruce was doing research on all these people, and he still didn't really know all of these guys and everything that they were about. But he recruited them, came in, and they did what they had to do. It was setting up number 2, and it was also setting up for future films, for the Flash to have an individual film, for others to have individual films, for the Batman to have an individual film, in which Deathstroke would be more presentable and all of these other things. So it's just a setup. It's a setup film. Like we're critiquing shit for no reason. Like, come on, it's a setup film. That's what happened.
I think what I'm saying is that your big team up film shouldn't be the setup. Your individual film should be the setup for the big team up.
It doesn't always happen that way though. It just doesn't always happen that way. I mean, it can happen either way. We have the team up film. Hey, this now creates interest to say, hey, I would like to know more about Barry Allen in the Flash. I would like to know more about this. I would like to know more about that. It's just that's how movies go sometimes. What are we talking about?
Oh, got a guest appearance.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I agree though. I thought there was it was much better than the last one, but I thought there was some opportunities there. Did either of you, I know neither of you probably did, because I know you made it clear. EJ, Vari, did you get a chance to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier? Episode 1?
No, I didn't. I didn't know. I thought it was coming out like at the start of next month. I didn't know it was out already. And I didn't know it was a series. I thought it was a movie.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was a movie until I started watching it, and
I literally told you I was gonna be 6 episodes last week.
I went to Disney and I went to Disney Plus, and it wasn't playing. I'm like, damn, Disney Plus is messing up. I was like, man, I set aside some time to watch it, and I looked at it again, and it said Series 1, Episode 1, and I said, what the fuck is this bullshit? But I watched it. So we'll get to that next week. Yeah. It actually, EJ is gonna get mad, but graphically and theatrically, man, they did an amazing job. They did a great job. But I do want to say, what's the dude's name that plays Falcon? Anthony Mackie?
Anthony Mackie.
Yep.
I have to give him he deserves his flowers, man. This dude went from being a nobody playing Tupac in the Biggie movie to to a huge Marvel person. So I give it to him, man.
Anthony Mackie's been the man since She Hate Me. If you haven't seen it, you should.
No, I don't think
that.
I never saw that. Oh man, that's a good film.
No.
Good film.
Yeah.
Good film.
You guys watching anything else? Have you watched anything else?
I'm gonna try to catch that Winter Soldier and Falcon joint ASAP. And I haven't been watching much of anything else other than my regular TV stuff and my regular TV shows and Justice League. So, but I'm waiting for Mortal Kombat to come out next month on HBO Max.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be really good.
Yeah,
it's gonna
be good.
I started what did I start? Oh, I watched a movie that I thought you guys might appreciate. Let me look it up here real quick. You guys can talk for a minute.
Well, for me, I watched this joint called The Honest Thief with Liam Neeson.
I was gonna watch that. Liam Neeson,
yeah. Probably could give it a pass. You know, it's not bad, but it's like it's not that great. You know, it's you know, you got Liam Neeson. You expect more because it's him or whatever, and it's not that good. The premise of it is basically he's robbed like 15 banks or some shit like that, but he met this woman and he's trying to start a serious relationship with her, and he don't want to like be looking over his back for the cops to come get him at some point. So he decides to turn himself in, and the cops don't believe he's the bank robber, so they ask him for some proof. He sends him to the safe deposit box or to the storage facility that he got the money hidden in, and the cops basically want to rob him and kill him or whatever. But the movie itself is just it's not that good.
Anything else you watch, VP?
Nah, that was besides Justice League and that was the only thing I really caught this week.
I watched a movie called Palm Springs on Hulu. It has Palm Springs. It's a comedy. It has Andy Samberg in it. And it's the premise of it is it's like a cross between Groundhog Day and 50 First Dates, kind of,
Hmm.
where basically they're waking up. It's him and this woman. I've never seen her, but she's pretty good. Kristen Milotti. But they're waking up every day and it's the same day, right? So it's repetitive. And they're at her sister's wedding and there's just a lot going on. So it's pretty funny, pretty good. They're trying to figure out how to make life continue again, how to get out of that circle. J.K. Simmons is in it, which is the guy from Oz. Not Shibetta, but what was his name? EJ in Oz, you remember?
Nah, I don't.
He was the white supremacist one. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
But he's in it. He's in so much shit. Like he pops up everywhere. Dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's in a lot of stuff.
Like he was in Zack Snyder.
Mm-hmm. He's Commissioner Gordon.
Gordon, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I watched that. I did start another show on Netflix as well, but it was terrible. And it was actually so bad that I don't even remember it. And I'm trying to pull up my Netflix app right. Like it was something I couldn't finish it. Actually two things I started. I started the Blockbuster.
Oh, the last Blockbuster
documentary.
I want
to check that.
Yeah, that shit's trash. But you could watch it. I had to stop it, so I'm not gonna say it was trash, but I had to stop it.
They're trying to make me learn stuff. Get out of here.
No, I mean they're telling the backstory of how Blockbuster came about, and if you know anything about life, and you were around back then, you and I and EJ for the most part, you know how video stores came about.
Netflix.
Yeah,
that shit that part is not lost on me.
It's pretty cool though. Like one of the actual worker or the manager of that store, she's pretty cool though. Like when I did get through of it, she employs a lot of the teenagers in the town and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I also started The Crew, which is it's on Netflix and it has what is his name?
Is that the one with King of Queens guy?
Yes. Yep.
I always pass over it.
I want to watch it. I always pass over it.
I always pass over it.
I started over it. The story's kind of okay, but him, he makes it. He's pretty funny. He's got his lines that'll catch you. I'm on episode 5 of that. And each episode he's made me laugh. So it's worth watching, but don't sit down and be like, oh, I'm gonna be glued to this. It's not something that's gonna force you to binge for sure.
What is it even about?
They are the pit crew for a NASCAR team, basically. And so he's like the head of the crew. He's been there forever, for a long time. And the father that owns that car, I guess. I don't know.
Racing team.
Sure. He's handing it off to his daughter, right? And she's trying to make some changes and stuff, but it has its parts, man. There's some parts in there that'll have you in stitches, have you cracking up. So definitely worth it for some of those one-liners. And him, he's a funny motherfucker. So but the story's probably not going to be the greatest for you guys. Definitely wasn't for me, at least.
Kevin James.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. I always call him the King of Queens, guys. That's what I always remember him from.
Yeah, yeah.
But I also saw a preview for a movie that apparently this preview has been out forever. The first time I seen it was yesterday. With Ryan Reynolds called The Nice Guy or Nice Guy or something like that. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it. The preview looks all right, but I think I'm gonna check it out. Basically, with the premise of it, Steve, is that he's like you know what an NPC is, right, Steve?
Sure.
It's like an NPC is a.
Oh, dude, that's an old ass movie. I just looked it up.
It hasn't come out yet. It comes out in 2021.
No, that movie is from 2016.
No. It comes out. It comes
the
out
Nice Guys.
June.
The Nice Guys.
Not the Nice Guy. It's called. It's called Nice Guy.
Oh, I'm looking at The Nice Guys, and I'm like,
Nice Guy. Not, it's called Free Guy. Free Guy.
Got you. Okay.
Free Guy.
Got you.
My bad. So basically, Ryan Reynolds plays an NPC inside a video game, but he doesn't know he's in a video game. So like every day he gets up, he gets dressed, he walks to work, and then like the people who are playing like online, like somebody walks up and just punches them in the face. Like if you're playing like Grand Theft Auto, you walk up and like shoot somebody, you know. And so he goes to his job every day at the bank, and it gets robbed. It's like the people playing the game, they playing the mission where you rob the bank, you know. And then he decides one day he's gonna do something about it or whatever. And so he basically gets out of character or whatever. So the preview looked kind of funny, so I want to check that out. And then my sister hit me to another show when we was over there yesterday. She was telling me what it's about, and I was like, I want to check this shit out because it sounds interesting, and I think EJ will like this show as well. It's called The One. Have you guys heard of that?
Oh, I saw that on Netflix. I didn't watch it, but
did you hear it, EJ? Basically, what the show is about. Basically, what the show is about is this doctor. She's created like this thing that it can sequence your DNA, and it can find the person who is the perfect match for you, right? And so you meet this person, and because like it's almost like you were genetically made to be in love with this person, right? And so people start doing it, and they start meeting their perfect match. They fall head over heels. But what happens is that some of the people who do it are like already married. You know what I'm saying? And the person they're married to is not the match. So they end up like people start getting divorced. And so like the government is trying to like shut it down because it's making it
sounds like America.
And the chick is like, yeah, she's like, the divorce rates are going up now, but once everybody gets with their perfect match, everything is gonna be fine. And you have some people like my sister was saying, like there's one person in the show who's a woman, and she's married to a dude, but her perfect genetic match is another woman, and she don't even like women. You know what I mean? But when she meets the person, they like fall in love and all, you know. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch that shit. It sounds good. So I haven't watched it or whatever, but I want to peep it out just based on how it was explained to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually watched the trailer last night when I was looking for something to watch. So I'm gonna check it out now that you say it.
This Friday, that movie I was telling y'all about, Nobody, where the guy's like a middle America father, but like secret assassin kind of guy, that comes out Friday, and Godzilla vs. Kong comes out Friday too.
Yeah. I don't really want to see Godzilla. I've never been a big fan, but my son loves it, so probably something we'll watch together, even though I'm not a fan.
But you do know that he's a big lizard, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you know enough.
So that tells you everything.
Generally has an idea of what's going on.
Big lizard, big monkey. You know, what else do you need?
Whoa. We don't use the M word, sir. Man, so all right. What else? Anything else happened that we need to talk about, or is it VP's time? Looks like my next door neighbor's bought a basketball hoop.
Nope, I don't think there's anything else.
Yeah, I think we're clear. But yeah, definitely check out the one show, man. I want to watch that joint. You know, I'm not the people.
Yeah. All right. Well, VP, I'm gonna hand it over to you so that you can get us.
All right, everybody. As always, we definitely appreciate you guys watching. Like I say every week, try to keep your social distance. If you got to go out, wear a mask. Try to stay 6 feet apart when you can. I hope that you'll get vaccinated. I am a proponent and advocate of this vaccine. I've taken the Pfizer vaccine. I've gotten both doses. I've had no reaction. I'm fine. My wife has taken it. I have people in my family who've taken it. So, in my opinion, the vaccine is safe. More than 100 million Americans have taken the vaccine. That's one thing I didn't mention in the politics section. We hit the Biden promise of getting 100 million vaccinations in the first 100 days. Got there on day 58. But over 100 million Americans have taken the vaccine. More than like 500 million worldwide have taken these vaccines. So it's safe. So please get vaccinated when it's your turn. Where we can be found. You can find this podcast on all podcasting platforms. Just search Castworthy, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Plus, iHeart. If they have a podcast, we're likely there. Just search Castworthy. On social media, you can find us at Castworthy. On Instagram, it's at Castworthy_podcast. We appreciate you guys rocking with us, listening to us, and we hope that you enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow. Hit us up. Let us know if we're doing a good job. If we're doing a bad job, let us know. Something we can do better. We definitely appreciate any interaction, any feedback that we can get. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's grow the audience, and we definitely appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to our thoughts on the issues of the day, and we hope that you enjoy it. So as always, we love you. We appreciate you rocking with us, and we will see you on the next one. Peace out.